Good morning, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. Today is Thursday, January 30th, 2025, and the moon is in Aquarius. We just had a new moon in Aquarius, and today the moon actually is in Aquarius till 5:53 p.m. here on the East Coast of the U.S., and then it moves into Pisces. Excuse me. At 8:41 this morning, so shortly, it's about 8, I think, here now. Uranus stations direct. Uranus in Taurus has been retrograde since September 1st, 2024. September 1st was also the day that Pluto moved back into Capricorn, to later exit on the 19th of November. And then never to really go back into Capricorn, but for another like 200 and maybe 20 years. We ain't going to be here. Not in these bodies. So it's interesting because that was back then, September. And we remember those days. Those were heady days with all the change and the like. And of course, whenever Uranus changes direction, there's always big change. And so now that it's going to start moving direct today, it'll actually move direct right out of the sign of Taurus and dip its toe into the airiness of Gemini. It will eventually it goes, I think, maybe in the first 2 or 3 degrees of Gemini, maybe not even that far. It might even just be the first degree. I can't say I know. And it will retrograde and go back into Taurus for one last dip into Taurus. But the thing about Uranus changing direction, Uranus is a rebellious energy. And when it goes retrograde, it's more of an inner rebellion. It's an inner transformational process. Once it turns direct, the rebelliousness gets to express itself in the outer world. And so there's plenty of reasons to rebel these days. And certainly we were given a whole list of them over the last couple of days. So people, I listen to, I do listen here and there to some commenters, and I try to stick to news sources that I trust and that seem reasonable and bring up good points. And, they're all like, when is America going to wake up? It looks like maybe they're just going to sit back and let this all happen. Well, I don't think so, guys, that Uranus is direct. The other thing about when these outer planets change direction, there's usually an incident, an outside incident that sort of brings it to, usually a big bang. And unfortunately, here in the United States, last night we had tragic helicopter mid-air collision with a plane, and I believe it was carrying a number of skaters. Athletes, kind of Olympian, kind of people who were, doing that. So in Washington, D.C., over the Potomac, I remember years ago, I think it was in the 80s, when that plane, it was during the day though, and it clipped, it went down. There were a couple of survivors. Doesn't look, unfortunately, like there's going to be many survivors. It happens at night. It happens under windy conditions, and it also happened under freezing conditions, and the plane went into the water. So I think the only thing we can say is that it was probably very scary, but very quick. And, hopefully they didn't suffer. But, the chances of survivors is nil. So not that, I just want to mention that as something that can happen. When these transpersonal planets change direction back in 93, when Pluto changed direction, we had the first bombing of the World Trade Center, they had put a bomb in a car in the basement. Of course, it didn't bring the towers down at that time. The other thing that's happening today is there's a trine between the Sun and Jupiter. That's a flow of energy. The Sun in Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini. There can be over-optimism with this and pushing yourself too far or going too far. So you do need to be aware of that. But it is a trine, and it does sort of bring to light issues that need to be discussed, that need to be brought into to our attention. But if you have a tendency towards arrogance or things like that, this can actually make it worse. So not that I know any of you are like that, but you guys know who I'm talking about without actually mentioning a name. So I'm gonna go because it's freezing. Is it actually freezing? Yes, it's actually below freezing. What is that? 20. Yeah. And yes, in fact, I'm wearing my Birkenstocks. I know, but there's no ice anymore on the driveway. So I'm gonna go. Have yourself a blessed day. I know it's been really, really tough, but we are gonna make it through this. And remember, I said this. I've said it many times, and immediately after the 20th, that just because he writes it down as a thing, it doesn't mean that it's going to work. So just step back, calm down. There are people working to maintain order in this chaotic environment, and the things that I think really matter for the most part are going to stay. So take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Mystic Sisters on Saturday on this channel. Don't miss it. And I'll talk to you later. Take care. Namaste.